Welcome to our video on the 10 myths about the Wild West. In this video, we'll explore some of the most common misconceptions about the Wild West and separate fact from fiction. So saddle up and let's get started. Myth 1. Cowboys were all tough, rugged individuals. While many cowboys were indeed tough and rugged, others were quite refined and educated. In fact, some cowboys were former slaves who had learned to ride and work cattle, while others were immigrants from Europe who sought a new life in America. So while cowboys were certainly skilled and hardworking, they were also diverse and varied in many ways. Myth 2. Everyone carried a gun. While it's true that many people in the Wild West carried guns, it wasn't universal. In fact, some towns and cities had strict gun control laws, and some people preferred other weapons like knives or bows and arrows. The Wild West was not the shootout at high noon that we often see in movies and TV shows. Myth 3. Saloons were filled with prostitutes and criminals. While there were certainly saloons that fit this description, many were actually gathering places for families and community members. People would gather to socialize, play games, and enjoy music and entertainment. Saloons were a central part of life in many Wild West towns, and not all of them were seedy or dangerous. Myth 4. Everyone wore a cowboy hat. While the cowboy hat is an iconic symbol of the Wild West, not everyone wore one. In fact, many people wore other types of hats or no hat at all. The cowboy hat was a practical item for working outdoors, but it wasn't a requirement for everyone in the Wild West. Myth 5. Cowboys were all white. While Hollywood movies often depict cowboys as white, there were many African American, Hispanic, and Native American cowboys as well. In fact, 1 in 4 cowboys in the Wild West was African American, and many Native American tribes had their own cowboys and ranchers. The Wild West was a diverse and multicultural place. Myth 6. Gunfights were a common occurrence. While gunfights did happen in the Wild West, they were relatively rare. Most disputes were settled peacefully or with a fistfight. In fact, many Wild West towns had strict laws against gun violence, and people who carried guns were often viewed with suspicion or fear. Myth 7. Women were weak and subservient. While women in the Wild West faced many challenges and restrictions, they were also strong and resourceful. Many women owned businesses or worked alongside men on ranches and farms. Women were also active in social and political causes, and played an important role in shaping the culture and identity of the Wild West. Everyone rode horses. While horses were a common mode of transportation, not everyone could afford one. Some people walked or used wagons or other types of vehicles. The Wild West was a place of innovation and experimentation, and people often found creative ways to get around. Cowboys always wore leather chaps. While cowboys did wear chaps to protect their legs while riding horses, they didn't wear them all the time. In fact, many cowboys only wore them when they were working with cattle. Chaps were a practical item for cowboys, but they weren't a fashion statement. The Wild West was lawless. While there were certainly areas of the Wild West where law and order were tenuous, many towns and cities had established law enforcement agencies and court systems. The Wild West was a complex and diverse place, with its own unique culture, customs, and challenges. While some myths about the Wild West may be based in truth, it's important to separate fact from fiction and recognize the nuances and complexities of this fascinating period in American history. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the 10 myths about the Wild West. We hope you learned something new and gained a deeper understanding of this fascinating time and place. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this, and we'll see you next time.